What up peeps, welcome back to a new review video. It is finally here. This time we're reviewing the long anticipated MCU movie ever since Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home. And a warning of course that this review is going to contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I highly suggest that you stop this video and save it, go and watch the movie and then come back so we can discuss the story around it and what we liked and didn't like about it. I personally did not dislike anything about this movie at all, apart from one little detail that didn't happen in a way at least that I wanted for it to happen, but I'll get to that later on. Starting off from the beginning, we got Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock Daredevil appearing in this one from the very beginning of the movie. And even though he appeared for a very short while, but at least him being there got me all excited because he's my favorite character out of all the Marvel characters that appeared on Netflix, the Defenders. Him being there was just enough for me, and I didn't even expect to see any of the other characters or the other Defenders, because to be honest I'm not too invested in them, especially Iron Fist. He is my least favorable one. I really dislike that character because he just appeared like a whining brat throughout the whole series, or his whole series. But for real, this movie is one of the best comic movies that I have seen in a long time. I would even go as far as saying it's almost on the same level as Avengers, and it has its own feel because of the nostalgia of seeing the past Spider-Man movies, which brings me to the next point. We got all three Spider-Men in this one. The goosebumps got me shaking in my chair. Watching all of these three guys together, just working together and talking and just interacting together was just so mesmerizing to watch, even though it was actually expected, because to be honest it was obvious. You can't really have all the main villains from the previous movies without having the heroes as well in it. I mean, they had Willem Dafoe returning again as the Green Goblin and even basically becoming or being the main villain in the MCU Spider-Man. So it's safe to say that getting Andrew and Tobey together is a given. Very expected. The three Spider-Man screen time was just perfect, and I really enjoyed their conversation about Tobey's webs and the fact that they just come out of his body and how they kept joking about it. That was just fantastic, as well as talking about their walls and their losses and what they've been through in their own walls. The sequence of events was perfect this time, not too long and not short either. I really enjoyed every single moment of this movie, even though after watching so many Spider-Man movies before, I got a little bit bored from all the films about him, but watching this one now, I would say it was absolutely worth it. And the ending of it was so satisfying for every character, especially for the Spider-Man in this universe. One major aspect that made this one stand out perfectly for me, that it touched on so many things, from the action set pieces to the drama to the comedy, even the romance, and it gave each of these elements its perfect time on screen. It didn't delve too much into any of them, and it gave the viewers what they really needed to see from and for the characters. And not just for MCU Spider-Man, but even for Tobey, Andrew and their villains from their walls. And having Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin be the main villain, or the one who impacts MCU Spider-Man the most, was just the icing on the cake. And the famous line of "with great power comes great responsibility" was the highlight of it all. This time that famous line is said by Aunt May, who sadly gets the killer blow this time from the Green Goblin, and in this universe Peter loses both his parent-like figures. There was a certain scene there, and I don't know if you guys clocked it, but I think Marvel took another dig at DC, just like they did in Deadpool. It was when Peter, Ned and MJ were walking into school, and the press and the students were surrounding them and they were shouting and everything. The whole place was just going crazy, and Flash Thompson was bragging about his friendship, was bragging about his book and his friendship to Spider-Man, and then he showed the book and it was titled Flashpoint. You cannot have possibly come up with this title just like that. I mean, Marvel, you better calm down with the jokes, you know what I mean? You'll be taking a lot of digs at DC. Maybe I'm saying this because I like DC and I want them to do better films, and they seem to be doing so. But to be fairly honest, it was a good one. Coming back again to the part that I mentioned earlier about the small detail that I wished if they had gotten or included in this movie, they actually did include it, and it was a specific character. I wanted it to have more screen time, but they just didn't give it that screen time. It was just included in the post-credit scene. Venom. His existence was teased once in Venom Let There Be Carnage in the post-credit scene, and they showed him again this time, but also in the post-credit scene. So they basically introduced him or brought him into the MCU in Venom Let There Be Carnage, but then in Spider-Man No Way Home they took him back again to his universe. They didn't really do much with him. They was just talking. It was just Eddie and Venom having their shenanigans. I was actually waiting for him to appear throughout the movie and even have a fight scene there. I don't care which side he would have fought on, if he was fighting on the Spider-Man side or the villain side, or even fighting for his own, you know what I mean? Just wanted to see him and Eddie just throwing jokes at each other, at everyone, and just fighting in the same scene as all the characters that were there. That movie If they had brought them or brought Venom and Eddie into this movie as well, this movie would have been perfect on all aspects, to be honest. But still, it doesn't take much from how great and amazing this movie is. But at the same time, to be honest, I was a little disappointed to see them included very briefly like that. Moving on to the end credit scene, it teased the next Doctor Strange sequel in the Multiverse of Madness, and it looks shocking. So obviously the story doesn't end there, and there is so much more from Marvel Studios that they seem to be cooking up and about to present us. Chiwetel Ejiofor is making a comeback in this one, and we got a glimpse of an evil Doctor Strange as well, and Scarlet Witch is going to appear in the next one. So I'm very much excited to see what Marvel Studios has for us in stores in the next installments. So for the movie as a whole, I really enjoyed it altogether from the beginning to the very end. I did not get bored at all. I did not see anything was over exaggerated. Everything was just perfectly set up in every scene, in every element, in every theme that this movie presented. And as I said, I would put it on the level of Avengers movies, but it's on its own level, of course, because it's bringing us the same characters from different universes, and it also made us feel nostalgic to the earlier Spider-Man, Tobey, Andrew, and their villains, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, and Sandman. And that's why I'm giving this movie the same rating that I gave Avengers Endgame, 9 out of 10 popcorns. And so let me guys know, what did you think about this one, and how much would you rate it for yourself? Did you like it fully, or were there any aspects of it that you did not like? And if there are any more points that you wanted to add in regards to what I just said in this video, or if there are any more thoughts or ideas that you wanted to include in this one, please drop them all in the comments below. I would very much love to read what you guys have to say about this one. And until I see you guys in the next video, thank you very much for watching. Have a splendid day and peace out.